Good afternoon. I'm a little late with a video again. I've just sort of finished traveling, so my life is it's a little in pieces, a little bit like a jigsaw. I haven't really been home properly in a good 2 months. So it can be a little difficult to remember the life you once lived and taking that back up. And when you travel, your mind is broadened and it kind of explodes. And I've also developed this real sense of calmness while I've been traveling. When you see the world for yourself, not through the news and not through documentaries, it really does change your perspective on the human race. Uh, Areas what I thought were problematic in the world, I no longer think are problematic. I think they're misrepresented, and that goes a long way to the life you live. And when you come back, you do have the issues of things being a little stale. But this isn't what I want to talk to you guys about today. I want to talk about, I guess the overall message is I want to make sure you guys don't waste your time while you're on Earth. But the theme of the video is just how fast life goes. And people say if you just sit around, time goes faster, which I think is true. People say when you're younger, time goes slower because your mind is soaking in more information. And when you're older, you're used to how the years work and you're in a 9 to 5 job weekly, the years go faster and times go faster as you get older. And I agree with those ideas and sentiments. But it is sort of like cliche when you're young, when you're younger and you're told time goes fast. I always knew it would. I was always a teenager or a child who I was old for my age. I don't necessarily mean maturity. I was able to think outside the box and whatever an adult told me. I would sort of, if an adult sort of told me time goes fast, I would think, has time gone fast for this person? I would more look at the adult. I'm getting sort of stung by some sort of nettle. I would always look at the adult. I should say it's very nice to actually be wearing summer clothes for once. This is really not a my style t-shirt. This is like a lad on holiday sort of t-shirt when you go to Spain. So as you can see, I kind of look a little out of place wearing something like this. But the reason why I got it, I'm going away again soon, and you need proper t-shirts. And I got this, and I didn't realize how low cut it is. Yeah, this is the sort of t-shirt you wear when you step out onto a balcony and shout to your lads, your boys. It's time to get some more shots. So I'd always look at the adult who would tell me the information of time goes fast, and I'd look at them and I'd see, do they have wrinkles? Or do they have deep set eyes? Or do they have lots of wrinkles? Are they tired? Has their life gone fast? Are they happy with what they've got and what they've done? So the more look at that perspective, and I think that is what youth do. I think youth look at us. I'm approaching 30 now. I think they look at us and they see, well, we've gone wrong, and they see the decisions we've made, and they see if they can do better. And I think sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But I got back, and I went out with some friends, and we were celebrating somebody's birthday, and it was their 51st birthday. But as you can tell, they're a friend of a friend. Well, they're an acquaintance. There's somebody who I hope to be a friend down the road. And it was their 51st birthday, and we asked what advice he would give, and it was a common advice of, if there's anything you want to do in life, do it. And that's advice I've always stuck by. I've always decided early on that there's enough of what's really out there, aka doctors and nurses and all these noble fields. I saw there was enough of. You could argue that somebody like myself, who I consider myself a kind person, would actually do well in one of those fields, and I have the intelligence to go into one of these fields. But I didn't see life as that. I saw life as, it's like when you look over a skyscraper and you just sort of see everything's just tiny, and the cars are going by and people are just walking to the shops and getting about their life. I always sort of viewed life like that as a child. Even when I was playing with toys, I would sort of look above the toys and I'd sort of be creating all these ideas and dreams. And when you have that perspective, so that bird's eye view perspective, you can go as far as me, and you can really live life as a nomad. What I mean by that is I've never really had a plan. I've never really when I say things like this, I've had things on my side, so I am a hard worker. When it comes to anything I want to do, I'll put a max amount of effort in. So I got strength on my side, what do help me live and achieve the things I want to achieve. But I've never really grasped onto any idea of life. I've never grasped onto an idea of community, and I've sort of just absorbed life, and I feel like I've really been able to live life in a peculiar way, if you like. And when I was hearing this advice of a 51-year-old, and I'm getting up there, I'm a couple of decades off, you see that advice what that guy's giving you, and then you look down towards the youth and the youth working behind the bar, and they could scoff at that advice. They could, I guess the right word would be that at that age they don't even see or hear that advice, because they're already so in their bubble, and they're so trying to do what they're trying to do, trying to become a DJ, trying to date this girl or this guy, or they're trying to get through the night, they're trying to have a good laugh, they're trying to get some money to buy this video game. Life is so different when you're younger, and I think life is so different when you're older. So that's why I've always kind of adopted this principle of, I've never really been a guy who's, it's weird to say this because people get very confused by this. I've never really been interested in money, and I like money in the sense it's allowed me to do things for my life, but I'm not wearing a watch. I've never wanted a watch, and I never wanted a shirt like this. But it's just that I find when you go through life, you automatically, if you put yourself into situations, you sort of get these things. So I talk a lot about nostalgia on this channel, and I talk a lot about the time changing and sentimentality, because it's something what really does fascinate me. It's probably my biggest fascination outside of some of the videos I've been doing. And what kind of fascinates me about it is, I was once a kid. I had a decent childhood. I was once a kid, and when I'd hear the ice cream van come down the street, I would leap up, run into the house. I never had money prepared. I'd grab the pound, I'd run out, I'd get the ice cream, and that was the big moment of my day. When you get older, there's obviously the joke around the ice cream man, that the ice cream man is a pedophile. That's sort of like I don't know if this translates into other countries and continents and states, but it was sort of common when you get older that all the ice cream man's actually a pedophile because their job's around children. Of course, very few of them actually were. It was sort of the cruel joke it was sort of the cruel joke we put on them. When I was a kid, it was just all about playing. We would use our imaginations to create these worlds and would exploit them, go into these imaginations. We completely dismissed or didn't even acknowledge the things happening around us. There were many of us who came from disappointing backgrounds and abusive backgrounds, but the abuse was almost, it was almost transparent. We didn't see it because we were just so excited to get out and be with our friends. And I had such an odd childhood. I had such a different list of friends. I had a friend, this is the weird thing as well, this person I'm talking about has grown up, got married. She lived with her grandparents. Her grandparents have passed on that house. It can't be demolished because it's classed as a house, what can't be demolished, but they're building new houses around it. And that's just like a part of my childhood gone and sort of made modern and made chic and made nice. And it used to be this old cracked farmhouse, and there was chickens and goats running everywhere, and she had a caravan, her grandparents, and we would go into the caravan, we would try and run to each side to try and tip it, and the grandfather, who was a complete different generation, would come out and he would snarl at us, he would tell us to stop. He was a very nice man, but he's just a very strict guy. she had a pet chicken, and then there was another house we'd go to, would knock on the door, and she would always open the window, and she would always say how she didn't want to come out, and we'd have to convince her to come out, and then there'd be another guy who was magnifying ants, and it was that sort of interesting place, and that place doesn't exist anymore. When I go home to my village, there's new people there. There was maybe 35 children when I was of age, and none of us are really friends anymore. None of us talk, which I think is quite sad. None of us. I actually bumped into one of my old classmates who wasn't necessarily one of my bullies, but he wasn't somebody who really liked me or somebody who talked to me or would defend me or anything like that. And it was somebody who I would say I wouldn't like. And it was I bumped into him and we sort of shook hands, and I didn't even recognize him. I recognized the name, I recognized the voice, but I don't recognize him. And we shook hands, and he was quite a small guy, and he's quite big now. And there's that moment where you look in this guy's eyes and you realize this guy was such a big influence on me when I was a kid. This guy was like the prom king, if you like, and now my life's more sophisticated. There's no sophistication about him. You know, I'm the one in the committed relationship. I'm the one traveling. I'm the one who's just living life as I would like to. And this is a guy who wanted all those things when he was younger, and I promised all those things, and everybody was pushing him onto scholarships, and now he's just in a place what hasn't really moved on with people that haven't really moved on. But again, at the same time, everything has also changed, which is a little complicating. So I think the thing to do is you just have to absorb life, and you just have to, I think you have to have ambitions, and I think you have to have goals, and you have to actively want to improve your life and improve your mistakes. And there's many things I'm working on daily to try and get right, to try and therefore improve my life. But there's also this thing of you just sort of let it be, and you just sort of let it go. I'm just going to pause this a second. I'm just running out of space. So there's this, you know, and when I run now, everybody around me they're running for time, or they're running with time. And I started doing that, and then I stopped enjoying running. I'll be doing a run, and it is recommended to finish the run strong, so don't walk. But the other day I just felt like walking. You know, who am I trying to impress? What am I trying to do? And it's kind of the same with these videos as well. I started them and I really wanted to do something punchy, and then it's like, or I watch another video what somebody else is doing, and I want to be a little bit like that video, or I want to speak about that, and you realize, no, I've just got to talk as fluid as I can, and I've got to say the things I want to say, the sayable. And then as I was noticing people, as I was noticing my acquaintances' birthday, who's now 51, and I was noticing people who were just starting their first shift, who were very nervous and they were bumbling. I just remembered I was that person once, and I'm going to be this 51-year-old, and time really just move. It really just start going. And when you get families, and when you get big commitments, you lose more and more and more time. And when I was 22, 23, I was getting ready to start my life and settle down. And it's weird because as of recently, I've kind of had another surge where that's not happening. Me and my partner have gone back to just exploring and enjoying life. And it's kind of weird because I kind of feel a little young again, or that I'm starting something I didn't really have the chance to start due to things that were happening in the world. But the thing I feel is that we get ourselves stuck in these bad relationships and these bad friendships, and we have these ideas where we want to travel to Italy, or we want to go on a boat down here, and we don't do them. And I think one of the reasons we don't do them is because we think, well, is it really going to improve our life? And the answer is no. I mean, you still come back and you're still facing the same four walls, but I think what it does do, I think it does fill you with perspective, and I think that the chaos of the world and the problems what we all face, the problems what are always going to be there. But I definitely think we should dissolve, and I think we should enjoy what is around us. I mean, how many people come into their woods or wherever they live and just sit by a tree and just take it in and just relax. We're all just consuming shorts, and we're all forgetting we're nearly 30, and we approach 30 and we think, what have we done with our lives? And we remember when we were a child, and we see somebody as a child who was a really attractive kid, and now they're not so attractive, or somebody who wasn't an attractive kid who's attractive. We see somebody who was not very clever who's now running the country. All of it is life, and it's interesting if you're able to just stand back and just look at it. But for yourself, yeah, make sure you don't waste your time. Make sure you really focus on what it is you want, and make sure you're the one who grows. Make sure you're the one who grows with maturity. Make sure you're the one who changes their values, and when you do bump into your old friends or old acquaintances, and it shouldn't be a competition, but it is interesting to use them as a measuring stick of how things have gone, how things are going, and how the areas has changed. Because one day that person who was the cocky prom king is going to be sat in a pub telling everybody else how he used to be so amazing. You don't want to be that guy. Okay, have a good week, a good weekend. If it's something you want to do it. Ciao.